Hey guys, tonight we begin with the sand, the sweat, and the roar of a crowd so loud it shakes the very stones beneath your feet. We are stepping into the arena, but not the Hollywood version with the gleaming muscles and the clear-cut heroes. We are going deep into the gritty, terrifying, and surprisingly bureaucratic world of the Roman gladiator. A life where you were a superstar and a slave, a god and a prisoner, all in the same breath. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. It's always fascinating to see who's joining us from around the world. Now, dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You wake up. It's dark, but not quiet. The air is thick, heavy with the smell of unwashed bodies, old straw, and the metallic tang of oil. You are not in a palace. You are not in a home. You are in a cell. It's barely large enough to turn around in, a stone box designed to keep you in and the world out. Congratulations! You are now a member of the Familia Gladiatoria. That sounds like a family, doesn't it? It sounds warm. It sounds welcoming. But in ancient Rome, family doesn't mean love. It means property. And that is exactly what you are. You didn't choose this. Maybe you were a prisoner of war, dragged from the forests of Germania or the deserts of North Africa, marched in chains until your feet bled and your spirit broke. Maybe you were a criminal, convicted of a crime you may or may not have committed, and sentenced to the games as a creative form of execution. Or, perhaps strangest of all, maybe you volunteered. Yes, people did that. Desperate men, drowning in debt, who looked at the arena and saw not death, but a paycheck and a warm meal. Whatever brought you here, the result is the same. You belong to the lanista now. The lanista is your owner, your manager, and your tormentor. He's a businessman, usually a former gladiator himself, who survived long enough to buy his freedom and now makes a living selling yours. He walks the rows of cells in the morning inspecting his investments. And that's what you are, an investment. You are expensive livestock. He has paid for your food, your training, and your medical care. He wants a return on that investment, and that return only happens when you step onto the sand and bleed for the entertainment of the mob. The door to your cell creaks open. The light is blinding after the darkness of the barracks. You stumble out into the training yard, the ludus. This is your world now. It's a dusty, enclosed courtyard, surrounded by high walls and armed guards. The ground is packed dirt, stained with sweat and the occasional drop of blood. Around you, dozens of other men are already moving. They are a mix of nations, a Tower of Babel built on violence. Thracians, Gauls, Samnites, Africans. Some are huge, hulking mountains of muscle. Others are lean and wiry. All of them look tired. All of them look dangerous. But before you can pick up a weapon, you have to make a promise. It's called the sacramentum. It's a sacred oath, and it's terrifying. You stand before a magistrate or the lanista, and you speak the words that strip away your humanity. You promise to endure burning, binding, beating, and killing by the sword. Uri, vinciri, verberari, and ferroque necari. It's not just a contract, it's a surrender. With those words, you give up your right to your own body. You give up your right to say no. You give up your right to live unless you are told you can live. It's a heavy moment. In Rome, a citizen's body is sacred. To be beaten is a shame worse than death. But by taking this oath, you accept that shame. You become infamous, infamous. You are socially dead. You have no vote, no voice, no standing in court. You are beneath the law, yet somehow strangely above it. Because while you are a slave, you are about to become a legend. It's a paradox that will haunt you every day. You are the lowest of the low, yet senators will cheer for you, women will dream of you, and emperors will bet fortunes on your survival. But survival is a long way off. First, you have to eat. And if you're expecting a warrior's feast of roasted meat and wine, think again. The diet of a gladiator is specific. It's designed not for flavor, but for utility. You sit down at a long wooden table with your new brothers, and you are served a bowl of sludge. It's barley. Lots and lots of barley. In fact, the Romans have a nickname for you and your kind, the hordearies, the barley men. It's a thick, grain-heavy porridge, sometimes mixed with beans for protein. It's heavy, it's bland, and it sits in your stomach like a stone. But there's a reason for it. You see, the popular image of a gladiator is a chiseled six-pack abs supermodel. But in reality, that's not what you want in the arena. You want bulk. You want a layer of subcutaneous fat. Why? Because when someone slices you with a sword, you want them to hit fat, not muscle, and definitely not an artery. A layer of fat protects your vital organs. It allows you to take a shallow cut, bleed impressively for the crowd, and keep fighting without actually dying. So you eat the barley. You shovel it in, bowl after bowl, building that protective armor under your skin. And to wash it down, a delightful concoction made of wood ash and vinegar. It sounds horrific, and it tastes worse, like drinking a campfire. But the calcium in the ash strengthens your bones. It helps them heal faster when they break, and they will break. This is sports science Roman style. It's gross, it's gritty, but it works. You are being built calorie by calorie into a machine that can take a beating and ask for more. Breakfast is over. Now the real work begins. You are handed a sword, but it's not the gleaming steel blade you imagined. It's wood, a rudis, and it's heavy, much heavier than a real sword, double the weight, maybe triple. The idea is simple. If you can swing this lumbering log of a weapon for hours without your arm falling off, a real sword will feel like a feather in your hand. You are also given a shield, made of wicker, but weighted down with lead. It drags your arm down, pulling at your shoulder socket, begging you to drop it. But you don't, because the doctor is watching.
The doctore is your trainer. He's usually a retired gladiator, a man who survived enough fights to earn his freedom, represented by the wooden sword he carries. He is scarred, tough, and has zero patience for weakness. He barks orders, corrects your stance with the poke of a stick, and drives you until your lungs burn. He pairs you up with a wooden post, the polis. This post is your enemy. It is your best friend. It is your entire world for the next 6 months. You strike the post, again and again. You learn to thrust, not slash. Slashing is for Hollywood. Slashing looks dramatic, but it rarely kills. It gets stuck in bone. It leaves you open. The Romans know that a thrust, a short, sharp stab, is deadly. 2 inches is all it takes. So you practice the stab. You aim for the imaginary face, the imaginary throat, the imaginary gap in the armor. You learn to hide behind your shield, to peek out like a tortoise, strike and retreat. Clack, clack, clack. The sound of wood on wood fills the courtyard, a rhythmic drumming that becomes the soundtrack of your life. Your muscles ache. Your hands blister, then callous, then bleed, then callous again. You learn to ignore the pain. Pain is just information. It tells you you're doing it wrong, or that you're pushing hard enough. You learn to move your feet in the dust, shuffling, pivoting, never crossing your legs, never losing your balance. Balance is life. If you fall in the arena, you die. So you drill until your legs feel like jelly, and then you drill some more. But it's not just physical, it's mental. The doctore is teaching you how to die. Not how to be killed, but how to die with dignity. In the arena, you cannot show fear. You cannot beg. You cannot cry out when the blade bites. You must accept the steel. You must look death in the eye and not blink. This is the ars moriendi, the art of dying. You practice stoicism. You learn to control your face, to mask your terror behind a facade of stone. The crowd doesn't want to see a scared victim. They want to see a warrior. If you fight bravely, if you lose gracefully, they might let you live. If you act like a coward, they will scream for your blood. The training goes on for months. You are exhausted, sore, and perpetually smelling of barley and sweat. But slowly something changes. The wooden sword feels lighter. The shield feels like an extension of your arm. You start to see the openings before they happen. You learn to read the twitch of an opponent's shoulder, the shift in their weight. You are no longer a farmer, or a merchant, or a prisoner. You are becoming a gladiator. But you aren't just a generic fighter. The Lanasta watches you. He assesses your build, your speed, your aggression. He needs to assign you a class. You don't get to choose. You are cast in a role, like an actor in a play. Are you big, slow, and strong? You might be a Murmillo, the fishman. You'll wear a heavy helmet with a stylized fish fin, carry a massive rectangular shield like a legionary, and wield a short sword. You are a tank. Your job is to stand your ground and crush. Are you fast? Do you have good reflexes? Maybe you're a Thrax, a Thracian. You'll get a smaller square shield and a curved sword, a Sika, designed to hook around enemy shields and slice at unarmored backs. Or perhaps you're a Retiarius, the Netman. This is the most controversial role. You get no helmet, no shield, just a net, a trident, and a shoulder guard. You are practically naked out there. You have to dance, to run, to entrap your enemy. It's high risk, high reward. If you win, you look brilliant. If you lose, you have no armor to save you. Once you are assigned your class, your training specializes. You learn the strengths and weaknesses of your gear. You learn who you will fight. Gladiatorial combat isn't a free-for-all. It's a matching game. Murmillos fight Thracians. Retiariuses fight Secutors. It's designed for balance. Heavy versus light. Defense versus offense. The Romans love symmetry. They love a fair fight because a fair fight lasts longer, and a longer fight is better entertainment. You spend your evenings in the barracks, applying oil to your sore muscles, listening to the veterans tell war stories. They talk about the roar of the Colosseum, the heat of the sand, the way the emperor looks when he's bored. They talk about the women, too. Noble women who sneak into the schools to pay for private lessons. It's an open secret. The sweat of a gladiator is considered an aphrodisiac. They put it in face creams. You are a slave, yes, but you are also a sex symbol. It's confusing, it's dehumanizing, and it's exhilarating. You form bonds with the men around you. You have to. You eat with them, sleep with them, train with them. You become a soldalitas, a brotherhood. But there is a shadow over every friendship. You know and they know that one day you might have to kill them. It happens. The Lanasta might sell you to a different school, or maybe a patron demands a specific matchup. You could find yourself standing across the sand from the man who bandaged your arm yesterday. And if that happens, you cannot hesitate. You cannot show mercy. You must do your duty. This psychological weight is heavy. It hangs in the air like the smoke from the lamps. Some men crack under it. They try to escape, or they take their own lives rather than face the arena. The suicide rate in gladiator schools is high. There are stories of men choking themselves on sponges used for cleaning latrines, or thrusting their heads into the moving wheels of carts, anything to avoid the sand. But you keep going. You eat your barley, you swing your wood, you harden your heart, because you have a goal: freedom. It's a distant dream, represented by the rudis, the wooden sword given to a gladiator who has earned his retirement. If you survive enough fights, if you win enough glory, you might get it. You might walk out of the gates a free man, with a bag of gold and a story to tell. But that is years away. Right now, you have your first fight coming up. The Lanasta has told you there is a festival. A local magistrate is paying for games to boost his popularity. You are on the bill. You are going to the Munas, the games.
The night before the fight is a strange affair. It's called the Cena Libera, the free dinner. It's a public banquet held for the gladiators who are about to fight. The public is invited to watch you eat. Imagine that. You are sitting there, trying to enjoy a meal that is actually decent for once. Meat, wine, fresh fruit, and hundreds of strangers are staring at you. They are sizing you up. They are placing bets. "Look at that one," they whisper. "He looks strong. I bet 50 denarii on him. No, look at his eyes. He's scared. He'll be dead in 5 minutes." It's ghoulish. It's invasive. Some gladiators play to the crowd, boasting and flexing. Others eat in silence, writing their wills, saying goodbye to their families if they have any nearby. You try to eat, but your stomach is in knots. You look at the man sitting across from you. He's a veteran. He's eating a pear with the calmness of a man reading a scroll. He catches your eye and nods. "Eat," he says. "You'll need the strength to die well." You finish your meal. You go back to your cell. You try to sleep, but the adrenaline is already pumping. You can hear the city outside, the hum of Rome. They are waiting for you. They are waiting for your blood. Tomorrow, you leave the school. Tomorrow, you enter the arena. Tomorrow, you find out if you are a warrior or a corpse. The morning comes too soon. The sun hasn't risen yet, but you are awake. In truth, you never really slept. You spent the night staring at the stone ceiling, listening to the breathing of the men around you, wondering which of them would be dead by sunset. The air in the barracks is cool, a fleeting mercy before the heat of the Roman day sets in. You can hear the guards moving outside, the clinking of keys, the low murmur of orders being given. It's time. You don't speak much. Nobody does. The bravado of the dinner the night before has evaporated, replaced by a heavy, solemn silence. You eat a small amount of bread, maybe sip a little water, but your stomach is tight, rejecting anything substantial. You put on your tunic, checking the ties, smoothing the fabric. It feels like dressing for a funeral. Perhaps it is. The gates of the ludus swing open, and the wagons are waiting.
You climb in, jostled against your brothers in arms. As the wagons lurch forward, rolling over the cobblestones, you catch glimpses of the city through the slats. Rome is waking up. Shopkeepers are opening their shutters. Slaves are hauling water. Stray dogs are barking at the wheels. To them, it's just another Tuesday. To you, it is the end of the world, or the beginning of a new one. The noise hits you first. Long before you see the amphitheater, you hear it. It's a low, thrumming vibration, like a giant hive of bees. It's the sound of 50,000 people gathering in one place. As you get closer, the hum separates into individual sounds, shouts, laughter, the crying of hawkers selling roasted chickpeas and warm wine. And then you see it. The Flavian Amphitheater, the Colosseum. It rises out of the city like a mountain made of travertine and concrete. It is blindingly white in the morning sun, adorned with statues in every archway, towering over the surrounding temples and tenements. It is beautiful. It is terrifying. It is a machine designed for one purpose: death, packaged as spectacle. You are ushered not through the main gates where the spectators flood in, but through a side entrance, the Porta Libitiniara. It's named after Libitina, the goddess of funerals, a grim joke by the architects. You descend into the belly of the beast, the hypogeum. This is the underworld. If the arena above is the stage, this is the backstage. But it looks more like a factory floor. It is a labyrinth of corridors, cells, and mechanical contraptions. The air here is hot and fetid, smelling of wild animals, unwashed men, and fear. You hear the roar of lions echoing off the stone walls, the trumpeting of elephants, the nervous pacing of bears in their cages. They are down here with you, waiting for their turn. You are taken to a holding area. It's cramped and dim. Above you, through the wooden trapdoors that form the ceiling, you can hear the muffled thumping of feet. The crowd is taking their seats. Dust trickles down through the cracks. You are literally beneath their feet, a secret buried in the dark. The day is long. The games are a full-day affair, and you, the gladiators, are the main event reserved for the afternoon. That means you have to wait. You have to sit in this stifling purgatory while the morning shows play out above you. First come the venatones, the beast hunts. You hear the machinery creak as elevators lift cages up to the arena floor. You hear the gasp of the crowd as a tiger or a bull bursts into the sunlight. You hear the clash of spears, the roar of the animals, and eventually the applause. It filters down to you, distorted and strange. You try not to picture what is happening. You try to conserve your energy.
Then, around midday, comes the damnatio ad bestias, the executions. This is the ugliest part of the day. Criminals, prisoners of war, people the state wants to erase, are fed to the beasts or forced to fight each other with no armor and no hope.
It's a massacre. The crowd loves it. You, a professional fighter, try to distance yourself from it. You tell yourself that what you do is different. You have skill. You have honor. You have a chance. But down here in the dark, the line between you and the condemned feels very thin. Finally, the sun moves past its zenith. The air in the hypogeum grows hotter. The smell of blood drifting down from above becomes metallic and sharp. The handlers come for you. Get up, they say. It's time. You are led to the armory. This is where the transformation happens. You strip off your tunic. You are oiled again, your muscles gleaming in the torchlight. Then the armor. If you are a murmillo, like we discussed, you pull on the greaves, the metal shin guards. They are heavy, lined with felt to prevent chafing. You wrap thick padding around your sword arm, layer upon layer of linen and leather, the monica. It restricts your movement slightly, but it will save your arm from being severed. Then the helmet. It is a masterpiece of bronze, heavy and suffocating. It covers your entire face. There are no eye holes, just a grill of metal mesh. When you put it on, the world narrows. Your peripheral vision is gone. Your hearing is muffled, replaced by the sound of your own breathing, loud and ragged in the enclosed space. You are no longer a man. You are a statue of bronze and muscle. You are handed your shield, the scutum. It is immense, painted in bright reds and golds. And finally, the sword, the gladius. It is short, sharp, and eager. You grip it, testing the weight. It feels familiar now, an extension of your hand. You and the others are lined up. You can see the fear in the eyes of the man next to you, a Thracian with a small round shield. Or maybe it's not fear. Maybe it's focus. Maybe it's resignation. You don't speak. There is nothing left to say. The doors open. The noise hits you like a physical blow. It is a wall of sound, a roar that vibrates in your chest. You walk up the ramp, out of the darkness, and into the blinding, crushing light of the arena. You have to blink to adjust. The sand is white, almost glowing. It has been freshly raked to hide the blood from the morning's executions. The smell is intense, perfume sprinkled by the organizers to mask the stench of death, mixed with sweat and the hot dust of Rome. You look up. It is like standing at the bottom of a canyon made of people. Rows and rows of them, stretching up to the sky, the poor in the nosebleeds, tiny dots of color, the citizens in their white togas in the middle, and down near the front, the senators, the Vestal virgins in their white veils, and the emperor's box draped in purple. It is dizzying. You feel small. You feel infinite. The pampa, the procession begins. You march around the perimeter of the arena. Music plays, trumpets, water organs, drums. It's theatrical. It's a parade. People are throwing flower petals. They are shouting names. Is that your name? You can't tell. The noise is a chaotic ocean. You stop before the editor's box, the sponsor of the games. You raise your hand.
The popular line, "Those who are about to die salute you," is largely a myth, a thing said once by prisoners in a naval battle. But the sentiment remains. You acknowledge the power that holds your life in its hands. The editor nods. He looks bored, or maybe just hot. He waves a hand, and the procession dissolves. It is time for the probatio armorum, the testing of the weapons. The referees, the summa rudis, step forward. They are dressed in white tunics with colored stripes, holding long wooden staffs. They take your sword. They check the edge. They check the point. They want to make sure it is sharp. They want to make sure you can kill. This isn't a stage play. The crowd will riot if they think the weapons are dull. The referee nods and hands the sword back. It is sharp.
The arena is cleared. The music stops. A hush falls over the Colosseum, heavy and expectant. The sheer scale of 50,000 people going silent is unnerving. You can hear the wind snapping the great awning, the velarium high above, which shades the crowd from the sun. The referee calls your name and the name of your opponent. You step forward. Your opponent is a Thrax. You know the type. He is smaller than you, faster. He has greaves on both legs, a small shield, and that nasty curved sword. You have the advantage in strength and defense, but he has agility. The referee shouts, "Pugnate!" Fight. The silence shatters. The crowd erupts again, a primal scream for violence. You move. The sand shifts under your feet. It's deeper than you expected, dragging at your ankles. The weight of the helmet presses down on your neck. Your breath is loud in your ears. Huff, huff, huff. The Thrax circles you. He's testing you. He feints, twitching his shoulder. You don't bite. You keep your shield up, your body tight. You are a fortress. Let him come to you. He lunges. It's fast. His curved sword hooks over the top of your shield, aiming for your helmet. Clang! The metal rings like a bell. The impact jars your teeth. You thrust your shield forward, trying to bash him, to knock him off balance, but he's already gone, dancing away to your left. The crowd roars. They love the speed. They love the noise. You reset. You plod forward, cutting off the ring. You need to corner him. You need to pin him down so you can use your weight. He strikes again, this time low, aiming for your legs. You drop your shield, blocking the blow. Thud. The wood splinters slightly. You stab out blindly over the top of your shield, a quick, piston-like thrust. You feel resistance. Fabric? Flesh? You pull back. There is a line of red on his shoulder. A shallow cut. The crowd sees the blood. They go wild. "Hobbit! Hobbit!" they scream. "He has it! He's hit!" The Thrax hisses. He's angry now, or maybe he's desperate. He comes at you in a flurry of blows, clang, 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 raining down on your shield and helmet. You hunker down. You are a turtle in a shell of wood and bronze. You wait. You wait for him to tire.
You wait for him to make a mistake. It's hot inside the helmet. Sweat runs into your eyes, stinging them, but you can't wipe it away. Your arm, the one holding the heavy shield, is burning. The barley diet, the hours of lifting wood, it all comes down to this. Can you hold it up for 1 minute longer than he can swing? He overextends. He tries a wide, sweeping cut to get around your guard. It's a mistake. He's exposed his flank. You don't think. You don't plan. Your body just reacts. Muscle memory takes over. You step in. You drive your shoulder into his chest, knocking the wind out of him. He stumbles back. His shield drops just for a fraction of a second. You thrust. The gladius sinks in. It's not like hitting the wooden post. It's softer, wet. You feel it hit a rib, then slide past. You twist the blade, just as the doctore taught you, and pull it back. The thrax gasps. It's a wet, gurgling sound. He drops his sword. He clutches his side. Bright red arterial blood pulses out between his fingers, splashing onto the white sand. He staggers. His knees buckle, and he falls. The roar of the crowd is deafening now. It is a physical force, a wave of sound that crashes over you. You stand over him, chest heaving, sword dripping. You look up at the referee. He has his staff raised, separating you. The fight is over. But the show isn't. The thrax is on the ground. He is still alive, but he is bleeding out. He looks up at the crowd, then at the editor's box. He slowly raises one finger, the sign of submission. He is begging for mercy, missio. Now the power shifts. You are no longer the main character. The crowd is. They are the judge. They are the jury. You look up at the seats. What do they want? Are they waving their handkerchiefs, shouting, "Mitte, let him go"? Or are they thrusting their thumbs, shouting, "Jugula, kill him"? The crowd is fickle. If he fought well, if he showed bravery, they might spare him. If he was cowardly, or if they are just in a bad mood, they will demand his death. You scan the faces. You see women screaming with rage. You see men laughing. You see the thumbs. It's confusing. Some are up, some are down, some are turned sideways. It's a sea of chaotic gestures. You look to the editor. He is the final authority. He listens to the crowd, gauging the mood. He wants to be popular. If the crowd wants blood, he will give them blood. If they want mercy, he will grant it to look benevolent. The editor stands. He looks at the fallen man, bleeding into the sand. He looks at you, the victor, standing tall in your bronze mask. He pauses for dramatic effect, and then he makes his choice.
The editor's hand moves. It is slow, deliberate, a piece of theater performed for 50,000 people. He extends his arm. He turns his thumb.
It isn't the thumbs down you see in paintings. It is the pollice verso, the turned thumb. He points it inward toward his own throat, or perhaps upward, like a drawn sword. The meaning, however, is unmistakable. Ugula, slit his throat. The crowd howls. It is a sound of pure, unadulterated release. They have gotten what they came for. The drama has reached its conclusion. You look down at the Thryax. He sees the sign too. The hope in his eyes vanishes, replaced by a hollow, devastating acceptance. He doesn't scream. He doesn't fight. He knows the code. He drops his head, exposing the back of his neck to you. He grabs your leg, not to stop you, but to steady himself. It is a gesture of shocking intimacy. In this moment, surrounded by screaming strangers, the two of you are the only people in the world. You adjust your grip on the gladius. You are tired. Your arm is shaking from the weight of the shield, but you cannot be sloppy. To hack at him would be a disgrace. It would be cruel. You owe him a clean death. You owe him the dignity of the iron. You step in. You place the point of the sword at the base of his neck, just above the collarbone, angling it down into the heart. You look away, just for a second, toward the horizon of the arena wall. And then you push. It takes effort. The body resists. Then a sudden give. The Thryax shudders once, a violent spasm that rattles through his armor. And then he goes limp. The heavy slump of dead weight against your shins. You pull the blade free. A fresh wave of red washes over the white sand. The referee steps in, raising his staff. He grabs your arm and lifts it high. You are the victor. You have won. The crowd is chanting your name now, or perhaps just the name of your school. It washes over you like rain, meaningless and deafening. You feel nothing. Not joy, not sadness, just a cold, hollow relief. You get to live. You get to eat bread tomorrow. That is the prize. But the show must go on. The arena floor must be cleared for the next spectacle. Two figures emerge from the gate of Libitina. They are dressed in costumes, grotesque caricatures of the underworld. One is Charon, the ferryman of the dead, carrying a massive wooden mallet. The other is Mercury, the messenger god, holding a red-hot iron wand. They approach the body of the Thryax. Mercury touches the fallen gladiator with the hot iron. It sizzles against the flesh. There is no reaction. He is truly dead.
Charon raises his mallet and brings it down on the skull, a ceremonial blow to ensure the soul and the body stays down. It is grim, it is theatrical, and it is completely unnecessary. But Rome loves a show, even in death. They hook the body and drag it away, leaving a wide, smeared trail of crimson in the sand. Slaves rush out with rakes and fresh buckets of sand to cover the stain. Within moments, the evidence of the life you just took is gone. The stage is reset. You, however, walk the other way. You exit through the Porta Triumphales, the gate of triumph. You step out of the blinding sun and back into the cool, damp shadows of the tunnel. The noise of the crowd instantly dulls, muffled by the thick stone walls. You hand your weapons to the armorer. He takes the bloodied sword without a word, tossing it into a bucket of water. You strip off your armor. Your body is covered in a paste of sweat, oil, dust, and blood, some yours, some his. You are shaking now. The adrenaline is crashing, leaving you cold and nauseous. Good fight, the Lanista says. He is there, counting coins in his head. He claps a hand on your shoulder. He is smiling. Of course he is. You just made him richer. Clean yourself up. The medicus wants to look at that leg. You look down. You hadn't even realized it. But your leg is bleeding. A shallow gash where the thriax's shield edge caught you. Pain, sharp and hot, finally decides to register. You limp to the infirmary. This isn't a modern hospital, but for the ancient world it is cutting edge. Gladiators are expensive assets, and they receive some of the best medical care in the empire. The doctor, the medicus, is waiting. He might be a Greek, perhaps a student of the famous Galen, who cut his teeth treating gladiators in Pergamon before he became the emperor's physician. The room smells of vinegar, unwashed linen, and something sharp and herbal. The doctor inspects your wound. He cleans it with wine. The alcohol stings like fire, making you hiss through your teeth. He doesn't stitch it. Stitches trap infection. Instead, he uses butterfly closures made of linen strips and sticky pine resin to pull the skin together. He packs the wound with honey. It sounds strange, like a recipe for dessert, but honey kills bacteria. It seals the cut. It works. Drink, he says, handing you a cup. It's the ash drink again, bone tonic. You drink it without complaint. You are too tired to argue.
Once you are patched up, you are given a palm branch and a laurel wreath. These are the symbols of victory. You also receive a small bag of coins, a fraction of the betting pool. It's not a fortune, but for a slave it is significant. You can use it to buy extra food, wine, or perhaps, one day, your freedom. You are led back to the barracks. The mood is strange. Some men are celebrating, loud and boisterous, high on survival. Others are silent, staring at the walls. You pass the cell that belonged to the Thrax. It is empty. His straw mattress is still there, indented with the shape of his body. His wooden training sword leans against the wall. By tonight, a new recruit will be sleeping there. The machinery of the ludus does not pause for grief. That night there is a feast for the victors, but it is different from the Sina Libera. The public isn't watching you eat this time. This is for the familia. There is roast pork, amphorae of cheap wine, and bread that is actually soft. You sit and you drink. The wine dulls the ache in your leg and the ringing in your ears. You look around the table. You see the faces of the men who survived. You share a nod. It's a secret language. We are still here. The earth tried to swallow us, and we refused to go. But outside the walls of the school, something else is happening. You are becoming famous. In the streets of Rome, people are talking about you. They are analyzing your thrust, your parry, the way you stood over the fallen man. Graffiti artists are already scratching your name into the plaster walls of taverns and bathhouses. Celadus the Thrax makes the girls sigh. Crescens the net fighter catches them in his web. You are a paradox. Legally, you are garbage. You cannot vote. You cannot marry a citizen. You can't even leave this building without...
Once you are patched up, you are given a palm branch and a laurel wreath. These are the symbols of victory. You also receive a small bag of coins, a fraction of the betting pool. It's not a fortune, but for a slave it is significant. You can use it to buy extra food, wine, or perhaps one day, your freedom. You are led back to the barracks. The mood is strange. Some men are celebrating, loud and boisterous, high on survival. Others are silent, staring at the walls. You pass the cell that belonged to the Thrax. It is empty. His straw mattress is still there, indented with the shape of his body. His wooden training sword leans against the wall. By tonight, a new recruit will be sleeping there. The machinery of the ludus does not pause for grief. That night there is a feast for the victors, but it is different from the Sina Libera. The public isn't watching you eat this time. This is for the familia. There is roast pork, amphoras of cheap wine, and bread that is actually soft. You sit and you drink. The wine dulls the ache in your leg and the ringing in your ears. You look around the table. You see the faces of the men who survived. You share a nod.
It's a secret language. We are still here. The earth tried to swallow us, and we refused to go. But outside the walls of the school, something else is happening. You are becoming famous. In the streets of Rome, people are talking about you. They are analyzing your thrust, your parry, the way you stood over the fallen man. Graffiti artists are already scratching your name into the plaster walls of taverns and bathhouses. Saladus the Thraex makes the girls sigh. Crescens the net fighter catches them in his web. You are a paradox. Legally, you are garbage. You cannot vote. You cannot marry a citizen. You cannot even leave this building without permission. But socially, you are a star. Women, noble women, senators' wives, whisper your name behind their fans, and sometimes they do more than whisper. The guards at the gate are corruptible. Everyone knows this. Late at night, after the lamps are dimmed, figures in hooded cloaks sometimes slip into the barracks. They pay the lanista heavily for the privilege. They come to your cell. It is a transaction, cold and strange. They want to touch the danger. They want to be close to death without dying. They run their hands over your scars, asking for stories of the kill. To them, you are an exotic beast, a tiger in a cage that they can pet for an hour. You oblige them. You take their coin. You give them the thrill they paid for. But you never forget what you are. You are the entertainment. When the sun rises, they will go back to their marble villas, and you will go back to the sand. Days turn into weeks. The cycle repeats. Train, eat, fight, survive. You start to notice the toll. It's not just the scars on your skin. It's the joints that ache when it rains. It's the tremor in your hand after a hard practice. It's the nightmares. You dream of the Thraex. In the dream, he doesn't submit. He stands up, headless, and asks you why you did it. You wake up sweating, gasping for air in the dark cell. You see the older gladiators, the ones who have been here for 5, maybe 6 years. They are rare. Most don't last that long. They are battered, their bodies maps of violence. They move stiffly, but they have something you want, the respect of the crowd and a growing pile of coin. One of them, a massive murmillo named Felix, takes a liking to you. He sees potential. He pulls you aside during training. Don't look at the crowd, he tells you, his voice like gravel. The crowd is a monster. If you look at them, they will eat you. Look at your opponent. Look at the sand. Look at the referee. But never the crowd. They don't care if you live. They only care if you die interestingly.
Heed.
teaches you the dirty tricks. How to throw sand in a man's eyes when the referee isn't looking. How to step on a foot to break a stance. How to use the rim of your shield to crush a windpipe. Honor is for the dead, Felix says. Victory is for the living. You take his advice. You survive your second fight, then your third. You fight a retiarius who tangles you in his net, dragging you across the sand like a fish. You panic, thrashing until you remember your training. You cut the net with your dagger, roll and strike. He falls. The crowd cheers. You live. You fight a Samnite who is stronger than you, a wall of muscle. He batters your shield until your arm goes numb. You think it's over. You think, this is it. This is the day. But then he slips, just a fraction, a patch of loose sand. You drive your sword into his knee. It's not a killing blow, but it ends the fight. He yields. The crowd grants him mercy. You help him up. It is a strange moment of camaraderie amidst the blood. With each victory your value rises. The lanista moves you to a better cell. You get better food, better oil, new armor with intricate engravings of Mars and Nemesis. You are an asset now, a primus palus, a first sword. But with status comes danger. The crowds expect more. They don't want to see you fight rookies anymore. They want to see you fight the best. And the lanista, always hungry for gold, is happy to oblige. One evening the lanista calls you into his office. It is a lavish room, decorated with mosaics of, what else, gladiators fighting. He pours you a cup of good wine, not the vinegar swill from the mess hall. You have done well, he says, smiling that shark-like smile. The people love you. The emperor himself asked about the murmillo with the iron defense. You sip the wine, wary. I serve as I am able, you say, the standard slave's response. There is a Munas coming up, a big one, the emperor's birthday. He wants a spectacle. He wants a reenactment of a famous battle, Greeks versus Trojans. He leans forward. He wants you to play Hector, the Trojan hero. You know the story of Hector. You know how it ends. Hector fights Achilles, and Hector dies. Is it a scripted fight, you ask? Sometimes they are. Sometimes the outcome is decided beforehand to suit the narrative. The lanista shakes his head. No, the emperor hates fake fights. He wants real blood. But he wants the casting to be right. You will fight as Hector, and for Achilles, he pauses, savoring the name. We have brought in Flamma. Your blood runs cold. Flamma. You have heard the name. Everyone has. He is a Syrian, a secutor. He has fought 30 times. He has won 25 times. He has been offered the rudis, the wooden sword of freedom, 4 times, and 4 times he has refused. He likes the arena. He stays because he wants to stay. He is not a slave to the lanista. He is a slave to the bloodlust. He is a monster, and you have to fight him. If you win,
the Lanista says, watching your face. The prize money will be enough to buy your freedom twice over. If you lose, well, you will have died a hero's death. He dismisses you. You walk back to your cell, the wine turning sour in your stomach. Flama, the man who refuses freedom, the man who loves death. You look at your wooden sword in the corner. You look at the small bag of coins you have saved. It is not enough. Not yet. You have a choice. You can try to run. You can try to flee the city tonight, slip into the shadows of the Subura and disappear. But you are branded. You have the mark of the Legion on your arm. They would catch you. They would crucify you. Or you can fight. You can step into the sand against a man who is more demon than human. You can try to kill the unkillable. You sit on your bed. You sharpen your dagger, the small one you keep for eating. The metal scrapes, a high, thin sound in the quiet barracks. Tomorrow, training will be harder. Tomorrow, you prepare for the fight of your life. But tonight, the fear is a cold companion, sleeping right there beside you.
The days leading up to the Emperor's birthday are a blur of frantic preparation. The ludus is buzzing. This isn't just another provincial skirmish. This is the Ludi Saecularis, the games of the century, or so the heralds are screaming in every piazza. The city is swelling. People are flooding in from Ostia, from Campania, from the provinces, all hungry for the spectacle. The air in Rome feels tighter, pressurized, as if the entire city is holding its breath. You are training harder than ever, but it feels different. Felix, your mentor, watches you closely. He doesn't correct your stance as often. He doesn't bark about your shield arm dropping. He just watches, his eyes dark and unreadable. Flama is left-handed, he says quietly one afternoon, while you are scraping the sweat off your skin with a strigil. You pause. Left-handed, Sceva. In the arena, being left-handed is a massive advantage. It changes all the angles. A standard defense is built to block a right-handed strike. A lefty comes at you from the wrong side, slipping past your shield, finding gaps you didn't know existed. Commodus, the mad emperor who liked to play gladiator, fought left-handed. It's considered unlucky, or lucky, depending on which end of the sword you're on. Felix continues. He is fast, but he is arrogant. He likes to play with his food. He will try to humiliate you before he kills you. He will leave openings just to see if you are fast enough to take them. And if I am, then you might live for another 5 minutes. Felix isn't being cruel. He is being honest. Honest is the only currency that matters in here. Don't try to beat him at his game. Don't try to be faster. Be stubborn. Be a rock. Make him break himself against you. The day arrives, but this time the atmosphere in the hypogeum is different. It's not the usual chaotic mix of fear and routine. It's electric. The Emperor is here. not a representative, not a magistrate, but Caesar. You can feel his presence like a change in gravity. The guards are stiffer, their armor polished to a mirror shine. The animals in the cages seem more restless, sensing the tension of the apex predators upstairs. You are dressed in your armor, but it is finer this time. The helmet is gilded, shining like a second sun. The crest is dyed a brilliant Trojan red. You are Hector, the breaker of horses, the defender of Troy. It is a role, a costume, but it feels heavy with history. You are about to die in a story that is 1,000 years old. You wait in the tunnel. The roar of the crowd is deafening, a physical weight pressing against your eardrums. And then you hear the chant, Flamma! 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 It is rhythmic, terrifying, a heartbeat of 50,000 people. He is their hero. He is the god of the arena. You are just the sacrifice. The gates open. You walk out. The arena has been transformed. They have built sets, wooden walls painted to look like the battlements of Troy. There are chariots, extras dressed as Trojan soldiers, smoke billowing from pots to simulate the burning city. It is magnificent. It is absurd. And there he is, Achilles. Flamma is not what you expected. He is not a giant. He is compact, coiled, vibrating with energy. He wears the armor of a suitor, a smooth, round helmet designed to deflect nets and tridents, a large rectangular shield, and a short sword. But his armor is black, pitch black, absorbing the light. He raises his sword to the crowd, and they scream his name with a fervor that shakes the ground. He turns to you. You can't see his eyes behind the mesh of his helmet, but you can feel his gaze. It is cold. It is bored. The emperor stands in his box. He waves a white handkerchief. The fight begins. Flamma doesn't circle. He attacks. He explodes forward, a blur of black steel. Clang! His sword slams into your shield with the force of a falling boulder. You stagger back, your heels digging into the sand. Before you can reset, he is there again, striking low, then high, then low again. He is everywhere at once. Felix was right. The angles are all wrong. His left-handed strikes are coming from places your muscle memory doesn't expect. You are purely reactive, blocking, retreating, trying to keep the wall of your shield between you and death. He laughs. You can hear it, a muffled metallic sound from inside his helmet. He spins, slamming the edge of his shield into your chest. The impact knocks the wind out of you. You stumble, dropping to one knee. The crowd gasps. They think it's over. Flamma steps back. He lowers his sword. He spreads his arms, inviting you to stand up. He is playing with you. He wants the fight to last. He wants to show the emperor a good show. You scramble to your feet, your breath coming in ragged gasps. Your chest burns where he hit you. You are angry now. Not the cold, professional anger of the training ground, but a hot, desperate rage. You are not a toy. You are a gladiator. You charge. It's reckless. It's stupid. But it catches him off guard. You slam your shield into his, a clash of thunder. You thrust your sword, aiming for the gap beneath his arm.
He parries, almost casually, knocking your blade aside. But the force of your charge has pushed him back. You have momentum. You press the attack, striking again and again, driving him toward the wooden walls of Troy. For a moment, the crowd goes silent. They are seeing something they didn't expect. The sacrifice is fighting back. You lock shields. You are face to face, metal grinding against metal. You can hear his breathing now. It is calm, rhythmic. Yours is a panic attack set to the beat of your heart. Not bad, a voice says from inside the black helmet. It is calm, conversational. For a Trojan. He shoves you back. He disengages, and then he changes gears. He stops playing. The speed increases. His sword becomes a blur. He batters your shield, thud, 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 chipping away at the wood, denting the bronze rim. Your arm is numb. You can't feel your fingers. You are losing your grip. He feints high. You raise your shield. It's a trap. He drops low, spinning on his heel, and his sword slices across your thigh. Pain, hot and white, blinding you for a second. Your leg buckles. You fall onto your back. The sand is hot against your skin. Your shield flies from your hand, landing just out of reach. You look up. Flamma is standing over you. The sun is behind him, turning him into a silhouette, a shadow of death. He places his foot on your chest, pinning you down. He raises his sword. This is it, the moment you trained for, the ars moriendi. You don't beg, you don't cry. You look up at the emperor's box. You wait for the verdict. The crowd is screaming, but what are they screaming? Mete, mete, let him go. You blink, sweat and dust in your eyes. Why? Why are they sparing you? You lost. You are on the ground. Then you realize you fought well. You charged the monster. You put him on his heels, if only for a moment. You showed virtus, courage, and Rome respects courage above all else, even the courage of a slave. The emperor stands. He looks at the crowd. He looks at Flamma, who is waiting, sword poised. The emperor extends his hand. He turns his thumb. It is not the pollice verso. It is the pollice compresso. Thumbs pressed together, or perhaps tucked into a fist. The sign of mercy. Sheathed sword. Mitte, the emperor says. His voice doesn't carry, but the herald repeats it. Flamma steps back. He sheaths his sword. He offers you a hand. You take it. He pulls you up. Your leg screams in protest, blood running down your greave. But you stand. You are alive. The crowd cheers. It is a different sound now. Not bloodlust, but appreciation.
You have entertained them. You have survived the unsurvivable. You limp out of the arena, supported by the referees. You pass Flamma. He doesn't look at you. He is already basking in the applause, catching flowers thrown by noble women. He won, of course. He gets the palm branch, the money, the glory. But you get to live. Back in the infirmary, the medicus is waiting. The wound in your thigh is deep, but it missed the artery. He sews it up, his hands quick and efficient. You're lucky, he says. Another inch and you'd be bleeding out on the sand. I know, you say. The lanista comes in later. He is beaming. They loved it, he crows. A valiant defeat. The crowd adores a scrappy underdog. I can double your fee for the next fight. The next fight. It hits you then. There is always a next fight. Surviving Flamma didn't buy your freedom. It just bought you a ticket to the next round. You are still a slave. You are still meat for the grinder. That night, you can't sleep. The adrenaline won't fade. You sit in the courtyard looking up at the stars, the same stars that look down on the emperor, on Flamma, on the free men of Rome. Felix sits down beside you. He hands you a cup of wine. He says, "You did good." You say, "I lost." He says, "You lived." In this place, that is the only victory that matters. He takes a sip of wine. He says quietly, "Flamma refused the rudis again. The emperor offered it to him after the fight. He turned it down. Why, you ask? Why would anyone choose this?" Felix looks at the walls of the ludus, the cage that holds you all. He says, "Because out there he is a nobody. He is a foreigner, a freedman, a former slave. He would be scrubbing floors or hauling grain. But in here, he is a god. He is addicted to the roar. He fears the silence of a normal life more than he fears the sword." You think about that. The roar. It is intoxicating. For a few minutes today, you were the center of the universe. 50,000 people held their breath for you. Could you become like him? Could you learn to love the cage?
You look at your leg, bandaged and throbbing. No. You want the rudies. You want the silence. But to get it, you have to keep winning. And now the stakes are higher. You are no longer an unknown. You are the Trojan, the man who survived Flamma. The crowds will want to see if you can do it again. They will want to see if your luck holds. And luck, as every gambler in Rome knows, eventually runs out. A week later, a letter arrives at the ludus. It is sealed with wax, stamped with a crest you don't recognize. It is for you. This is unusual. Gladiators don't get mail. You break the seal. The script is elegant, feminine. To the Hector of the arena, it reads,
Your courage moved me. I wish to meet the man behind the helmet. Tonight, the back gate. Come alone. It is signed simply, Julia. You show it to Felix. He frowns. This is dangerous, he says. Julia, that could be anyone. A senator's wife, a merchant's daughter, or a trap. A trap? Rival schools do it, he says. Lure a champion out, break his legs in an alley, ruin the competition. Or maybe a husband who didn't like the way his wife looked at you. But maybe it's real. Maybe it's a patron, a wealthy woman who could buy your freedom with a snap of her fingers. It happens. There are stories. You look at the gate. The guards are paid to look the other way for things like this. Do you go? It is a risk. Everything is a risk. But the arena offers only one way out, and it is paved with blood. This is a different path, a path through the shadows. You make your choice. You put on a hooded cloak to hide your face. You slip a dagger into your belt, not a gladiator's weapon, but a street weapon, just in case. You walk to the back gate. The guard nods, a coin already in his pocket. He opens the heavy wooden door. You step out into the Roman night. The air is cooler here, away from the stink of the barracks. The city is alive, a labyrinth of stone and shadows. A carriage is waiting. The door opens. The carriage interior is dark, scented with lavender and expensive oil. It is a small enclosed world of velvet and privacy, a stark contrast to the stone and straw you are used to. Across from you sits Julia. In the dim light filtering through the shutters, you can see the glint of gold at her throat, the pale curve of her arm. She is beautiful, yes, but terrifying in a way that Flamma never was. Flamma wanted to kill you. Julia wants to own you. She doesn't ask about your life before the arena. She doesn't ask about your family or your dreams. She asks about the kill. She asks what it felt like to stand over the Thrakes. She traces the line of the scar on your thigh with a finger that has never known a day of labor. To her, you are a story, a dangerous breathing story that she has bought for the evening. You play your part. You are the stoic warrior, the Hector. You speak in short, gravelly sentences. You let her believe the myth. Because the truth, that you are tired, that your knees ache, that you are terrified of dying in a pile of wet sand, would ruin the fantasy. And ruining the fantasy is bad for business. When the carriage returns you to the back gate of the Ludus, hours later, you step out with a heavier purse and a heavier heart. You slip back into your cell, the coin clinking softly against your side. You look at the sleeping forms of the other men. Some of them will never leave this place. They will die here, or in the arena, and be dragged out by the hooks of Hairon. But you have a plan.
Years pass. The timeline of a gladiator is accelerated. A year in the arena ages a man like 10 years in the fields. You are no longer the rookie. You are the primus palas, the first sword of the school. New recruits look at you with awe and fear. They whisper your name. You have survived 12 fights, 15, 20. You have become a master of conservation. You don't run around the arena anymore. You let the young ones run. You let them tire themselves out, wasting their energy on flashy spins and aggressive lunges. You wait. You block. And when they gasp for air, when their shield drops a fraction of an inch, you strike. It is efficient. It is cold. It is survival. But the toll is mounting. Your body is a map of violence. A jagged line across your ribs from a secutor's blade. A burn mark on your shoulder from a retiarius's net. Your hands are permanently curled into the shape of a sword hilt. You wake up in the morning and it takes a full minute to straighten your back. You have the money now, the coin you earned from the fights, the tips from patrons like Julia, the wagers you placed on yourself through intermediaries. You have enough to buy your freedom, but the lanista is reluctant. He is your star. He keeps raising the price, inventing fees, delaying the paperwork. One more fight, he says. Always one more fight. A retirement match, a grand finale. Win this, and I will give you the rudis myself. You agree. You have no choice. The day of your final fight is different. It is not a festival day. It is a day dedicated to Mars, the god of war. The Colosseum is packed, but the mood is somber, respectful. They know this is it. They know they are watching the end of a career. Your opponent is a young Murmillo named Valerius. He is you 5 years ago. Big, strong, eager to prove himself. He has won his first 3 fights by overwhelming force. He thinks he is invincible. You know better. You stand in the tunnel one last time. The smell of the hypogeum, the damp earth, the animal musk hits you with a wave of nostalgia. You hate this place, and yet it is the only home you have known for a decade. It is the only place where you know exactly who you are. The gates open. The light. The roar. It feels slower this time. The noise seems distant, like the sound of the ocean heard through a shell. You walk to the editor's box. You salute. You test your sword. It is sharp. Good. Valerius is bouncing on his toes, full of nervous energy.
He slams his sword against his shield, bang, 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 trying to intimidate you. You just stand there. You plant your feet in the sand. You lower your center of gravity. You wait. Pugnate! Valerius charges. He is a bull. He throws his weight into a massive overhand strike. You step aside, just a few inches, letting his momentum carry him past. You could have cut his hamstring then, ended it in seconds, but you don't. You need to show him. You need to show the crowd. He turns, confused. He strikes again, a flurry of blows. You catch them on your shield, absorbing the impact. Your arm aches, a deep, familiar throb in the bone, but the shield holds. You are a wall. You watch his eyes through the grill of his helmet. They are wide, frantic. He is burning through his energy. He is getting frustrated. He expected you to fight back, to engage in a brawl, but you are giving him nothing. Minutes pass. The crowd grows restless. They want blood. But you are writing a different story today. You are writing a story of control. Valerius steps back, his chest heaving. He drops his shield arm for a split second to shake out a cramp. Now, you step in, not with a wild swing, but with a simple, brutal shield bash to his face. The metal rings. He stumbles backward, dazed. You kick his legs out from under him. He hits the sand hard. You are on him instantly. You place the tip of your sword at his throat. You don't push. You just hold it there. He freezes. He looks up at you. He knows he is dead. He drops his sword. He raises his finger. The crowd goes silent. They are waiting for the signal. You look up at the editor. You look at the crowd. And then you do something you have never done. You don't wait for the thumb. You step back. You sheathe your sword. You turn your back on your opponent. It is a massive breach of protocol. It is an insult to the game. Or perhaps it is the ultimate act of dominance. You are saying, I don't need your permission. I have won. It is over.